Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Today, I have an exciting video. We are going to explore 8 different color schemes, and I am going to create some 8 layered backgrounds that I'm going to purpose to make some affirmation cards, but you can do an art journal page background. So lately, I've been doing some self care. I listened to the Mel Robbins 8 Things to Tell Yourself Every Morning, and it really meant a lot to me. So I'm going to take the things that she said in that video, which I recommend to you, and turn it into affirmation cards. So I printed it out on a bold font, kind of all caps, and I just cut them out. Now I want to pick the substrate that I'm going to do. I could do this size 5 tag, but pretty much all I'm going to see there is not much background, but just the sentiment, which is good. I like the small size. But this size 8 one, 6 1/4 by 3 and something, I think I like this size more. It gives me more playing ground to doing it. So I'm going to use this size tag. Now I cut this out of old manila file folders, but you can also cut them out of mixed media paper. Just rip it out of your mixed media journal. Now you can just cut whatever size you want. And here is a pro tip. I made myself a template using a key card. Just cut off the angle, and then all you do is put it on the straight edge and cut it off, flip it over, and cut out the other side. And you have identical slants on each side. So however you cut it is what you have. So on this key card, I actually have 3 different angles for 3 different types of tags. So hope you enjoy that extra tip in this forecast. Yes. Now I gave this a coat of gesso to get rid of the mineral color and to prep the material. I'm not sure if I'm going to go horizontally or vertically right now, and I'm going to deal with the backgrounds later. So let's get on to the color schemes. As I said, I am playing with 8 color schemes, and here they are. I have brilliant yellow, quinacridone magenta. I mentioned these later, but you can come back to this and copy this down if you like what you see. So I just kind of brainstormed what 2 colors I want to put together, that I want to experiment with and see what I can do. I'm just having some playtime, experimented time, and then I'm just pulling all my paints because I am just going to have fun putting it down. And we're going to be kind of doing this in assembly line fashion. And I'm going to show you how to work in ways to make it look more cohesive. And one of those ways is I'm using the same color on different tags. Now I'm using a makeup sponge to apply the paint, and I am wetting the makeup sponge. I find that makes it work. So here's the first color combination, quinacridone magenta and brilliant yellow. Now most of my colors are Liquitex Basics, and the yellow and the orange, I believe, are Artist Loft. So I'm just mixing this, and I'm moving fairly quickly, not as fast as some of the sped up video here, but I want to mix it wet on wet because I want to get some of that third color, those different tones when I mix more of the magenta with the yellow, more yellow than magenta and stuff. Now, this might look like a hot mess. It doesn't matter. I can build up the color, add another layer over time if it's not bright enough. Second color combo, Hooker's Green and Brilliant Yellow. So here I've added Brilliant Yellow again, and this is one of the ways to build cohesiveness in what you're doing as a set. I want all these cards to look different, but I want them to kind of have something in common. So using the same colors on multiple cards helps them all work together. So again, I am mixing it wet on wet, and this is very muted, and I can come back either right now before it dries or after it dries and add another layer to make them a little bit brighter if that's what you prefer. So this is quinacridone magenta and bright aqua, and when they mix, they make a beautiful shade of purple. and this is the color layer. This is the first layer. And I'm not overthinking this, right? I'm moving fast. I'm using the same makeup sponge every time I'm using aqua. If it gets dirtied, I can grab another one. Orange and deep violet. Now, this is a weird color combo, but when those two mix, because it's got that red in there, it makes this rosy red color that I absolutely love. Prussian blue, bright aqua. You can mix it as much as you want. If it gets too blendy, let it dry, put a coat of gesso, and reapply the color. You can't go wrong. I'm doing this assembly line and I'm moving fairly quickly. This video is under, it's around the 30-40 minute mark. It probably took about an hour, 20 minutes total work time. Green, yellow, and Prussian blue. Light blue permanent and dioxazine purple. I hope you have a pen and paper at hand and are writing down those color combos that speak to you. Now, if you don't have this exact blue, use what you have. Use the orange that you have. It might give a slightly different look, but it might be slightly more wonderful too. So don't think you need to go out and buy the exact colors and the exact brand that I have. This one is cadmium red and dioxazine purple, which is a fairly dark one. But again, this is a color combo unexpected. And we're playing with it. You don't know unless you try. And that's what this is about. So there we have three of them. Three of the tags. There's 6 of them. So that's good base color. Then I'm taking the makeup sponges and I'm putting them in the Ziploc bag. I need to use them again, and I don't want to wash them beforehand, but I don't want them to dry out. I did use my script stamp and black acrylic paint to stamp script on there, but somehow I lost the footage. But there's the finished tags with the script stamp. So that's layer 2. Layer 3, I'm going to stencil. I grabbed 4 different stencils, and I'm going to put one stencil on 2 tags. This one's called Diamond Dash, and I'm using white acrylic paint here. And I'm not overthinking it. Again, I'm moving very quickly. This is a very fast project, but if you're not doing affirmation cards or not doing tags, the same background can be on an art journal page of whatever size. This one's called Knitted Things, a stencil. All my stencils come from the Crafters Workshop. There's a link in the description box. This is another one of my favorite. They're kind of small to mid-size. This is chicken wire reversed. I love this one. And I'm using a stencil brush to apply the paint. I find that works with especially stencils that are smaller scale or that have smaller openings. Really a game changer here. And this one is called Tile Mania. I got a little extra water on my brush here for some reason, and so it's a little smeary, but you know what? I just went with it. This is layer 3. So there's the 2 with Knitted Things, the 2 with Tile Mania, the 2 with Diamond Dash, and the 2 with Chicken Wire Reverse. Any favorites? So now the next layer, I am going to do some stamping. And this is from Stamperia. I think it's there was a mermaid one. Textures, Sea Textures or something. I can't get the name. And I'm just stamping. And this time I'm using one of the colors that's already on the tag. So in this case, I'm using the Prussian blue. And I'm primarily stamping where the green yellow is. So it shows up. So we have the color layer, script layer, stencil layer, stamp layer. So this is the fourth layer, and we are not even halfway done with layers. So again, I'm doing the same stamp on two of the tags and then picking another stamp for the next two. Again, from a Stamperia one, and this one I find I'm using bright aqua on the top one. It's adding some nice fine detail. Now the stamping that I'm doing here is a little smaller scale than the stenciling. We're just adding interest, and here I'm using the Prussian blue to add the detail. And I always wash my stamps right after I use the acrylic paint. This is a dot stamp, and I'm using, again, one of the colors and adding those dots on. This is one of my favorite stamps. It just always makes it better. Here, because it's so dark, it's not going to show up a lot, but it doesn't have to. Not every element needs to show up super strong. These are coming along very, very nicely. Now this is shelf liner, and I'm putting acrylic paint on it and stamping with it. Here I'm stamping with the deep violet. Again, I'm using the same color. I do add black, I do add white for contrast, but then I've stayed with those two colors. So now we have 4 layers on these backgrounds, and we're only half done. So now we are going to use some mark makers. This is the lid from something, and I'm using black paint. Maybe it's 6 layers. I lose count. Don't hold me accountable. And I'm putting black acrylic paint on it, and I'm just on it. Now here, I built the cohesion between them by you doing the same stamp, same stencil on 2 of the tags. So they all kind of work together. Now I'm doing the same thing to all the tags. So I'm going to use this cap with the black acrylic paint on all of these tags. And that's going to tie all 8 of them together because I want it to read as a series. I want it to look like they belong together. So whether that's ATCs or you're making a series of canvases, you want to build in those things that are going to connect them. You want some differences, some variety, but you also want to build in those connections. Ah, I'm loving this background. And this black just really made it pop. I was just having fun. I didn't set out to have so many layers necessarily. I just wanted to play. And then I decided to stop when I thought it was enough. And you'll know when that is for you. I'm using a fair amount of paint on there. And when you use this as a mark maker tool, it adds a very slight bit of texture because the paint is on top or raised up. So it does take a little longer to dry. So you have to be mindful of that. Now, some of these got really dark, so I grabbed my script stamp again and I'm putting white on it. And I'm doing that to lighten and brighten some of these tags because I'm reading it as a little too dark. And because it's on the top layer instead of this bottom layer of script, it just looks a little different. So I do this to a few of the tags. So you'll notice I've added some of that script one, but I'm not counting that as another layer. I'm counting that as a fixing the first layer. So now we're going to add the 6th layer, which is gold paint, and I'm using a building block, a child's building block that's a nice square to apply it. I'm using a lot of gold paint. It's thick. It's going to put texture on there. And the gold looks really good on the cool colors, but it also looks good on the tags that have warm colors. So it adds to all of them, and that's why I chose gold. You could have chose a different color if that's what you want. Also, stencil butters, because they're halfway in the thickness between modeling paste and acrylic paint, you could dip it into those beautiful pearlized ones from stencil butters as well. That might add even more texture. Love how this is what's adding it to it. But no matter what color's in the background, that black and that gold really made it work. So this is layer 6. Even on this light one, that gold, it shimmers and it shines, and it just makes me happy. And you can see every time I add a layer, it pushes back the previous layers, but you can see all of them. And don't forget to stamp off the edge. And this one's so dark, but this gold just brought it to life. I could have also done some stamping with these mark makers with white. That would have given a different look. So that's completely dry. So now I'm unsure what I want to do. So I am just going to shade around the outside. I'm using my angle brush, black acrylic paint, and I'm shading. And this is my preferred way of shading or edging because it's acrylic paint. It's permanent when it's dry. So I'm not going to show the footage of me doing this for all of them, but of course I do it for all of them. I give it one layer, let it dry, and maybe I go back. So these are kind of swoosh templates that I have cut out of Mylar. And it was sitting there for another project, and I thought, maybe I could do something here that would set off the affirmations. I could move it in different ways, make sure there's enough space here to put down the affirmation. Why not? So I grab this is an Inktense pencil, which is ink, not watercolor, permanent when it's activated. So here I'm just, now could you make a swoosh just drawing it freehand? Absolutely. But this allows me to addition it and try to figure out which sentiment or which affirmation is going where. And then I can use it again and again and again. So you take 2 minutes, set it up in your stash, and then you have those swooshes to use. So I'm going to go through all of them, put the different templates on, and I want, while everyone's going to have a swoosh through it, they're going to be different. So something the same, but unique. So once I've done all that, now I want to activate the Inktense pencil, and I have the black acrylic paint on my angle brush, just like I used to shade around the outside edge, and I'm activating that and adding some darkness there, making that swoosh stand out, dividing up the tag into 3 parts, adding some interest. So this I'm counting as the 7th layer because it really adds to it in a very easy way. So again, I go through all the cards, making that swoosh stand out. And even on this one that's so dark, it makes it stand out. Of course, you could do it with white or a different color if you prefer. Are you finding a favorite background? I'm going to want you to tell me which color combo was your favorite. So there are all of them. So then I have those 8 affirmations from that podcast. But again, use the affirmations that work for you or put a focal image that isn't about affirmations if you're doing this background on an art journal page. Right? This isn't about affirmation. It's about layers and it's about color combos. So we can count this as another layer, the sentiment, the words. Now, I could have left it in that rectangle with a little bit more white, but then I opted to cut out a lot of that white and then rearrange the letters. And as much as I was trying to center it on one of the three parts, I kind of, well, you'll see what I did. I didn't stick to that. So once I had everything laid out the way I liked it, I grabbed my fluid matte medium and I'm using a brush and I'm just going to glue it down. Now, my Inktense pencil is fully activated and it's not going to smear. If you've used something that isn't, it may smear. So you have to be mindful of that. Once that's dry, I grab my Sakura glaze pen. This is a black one. It is glossy and it's dimensional and it's the perfect little addition to just outline all the words. Just makes them stand out just that little bit more. Because after all, these are affirmation cards. I want to be able to focus on the words. For me, that's the purpose. I want to have these cards at my bedside and say them every morning. I decided to grab my fine line applicator bottle with white in it. It's just watered down white acrylic paint. And I'm dashing where that swoop is. I just wanted to bring it out a little bit more. Because I chose white, it's making it shine or make it stand out a little bit more. And while I'm doing this, I'm thinking, do I want to do the outside of the card around the outside border? And I decided not to because I wanted the swoosh to be more prevalent. I like this faux stitching look. You could put a solid line if you want, or just leave it. So the backs are pretty dirty. My plan is to go through my gel prints and pick an interesting gel print and just glue it down with fluid matte medium or gel medium. But I'm not going to do that now. So again, this was the podcast YouTube video that you can go to if you're interested. And here are the cards. Number 1, let me know which one you like best. Number 2, by the color combo or the saying. No. Number 3, number 4, number 5. I think this might be my favorite, or the first one, or this one. I'm not sure. Number 6, number 7, and number 8. Well, I know I had fun in my studio today exploring color schemes and just having fun adding layers. I hope you learned a few things. I hope you give something in this video a try. Let me know what you're going to try next. Until next time, go get creative.